Hi everybody, my name is Rich Falzone and I'm a volunteer with Second Summer Cycle. You remember the last time you volunteered to help someone and how good that felt? I mean, how really good it felt to do something for someone else. Well, if you'd like a chance to volunteer for one day to get that old feeling back, then let me tell you a little bit about Second Summer Cycle. This is a charity ride that will be taking place on Sunday, September 15th. There are two ways that you can volunteer. One is to be a rider, of course, but you can also be equally important by being a volunteer along the course. We'll be starting at one end of Cape Cod and taking it to the end. So please, if you're interested, stay tuned and we'll tell you how you can get started. So helping to introduce us to Second Summer Cycle is its founder and chairman of the board of the Second Summer Cycle, and that is David Troutman. Welcome, David. Good to see you.
Rich, thanks for having me.
Good to have you. So, how did this all evolve, the Second Summer Cycle?
It's a good choice of words. It's definitely an evolution. Quite frankly, what we refer to it fondly is a replacement ride. The fact is there was a very successful charity ride that existed for 30 plus years called The Last Gasp.
Oh, I've heard of that.
And while this is not The Last Gasp, there's tremendous number of differences in it. The fact is this is sort of a replacement of that ride. That existed for many, many decades. It folded about 3 or 4 years ago. And quite frankly, it left a huge hole in the budget of a number of local charities. So consequently, it evolved to where someone from a couple of the charities came and had approached me about resurrecting that ride. And while we did not follow that ride specifically, we use that as sort of a model. We've expanded on it, and we moved it to what had been run by something called Cape Cod Fundraisers, was taken over by the Cape Cod Chamber of Commerce. This became a flagship sort of event for them. But there's more to the story on that. I can tell you a little bit. But bottom line is it became a chamber event that was supposed to take place last year.
Nice, nice. And how did it change in terms of just the ride itself? I know it sounds like there are different options for people who are interested in making choices.
Sure. Yeah, unlike many rides, there's a beginning and an end, one specific distance, one size fits all. We adapted this really to be 3 different distances, 33, 69, or 100 miles. So for those who really want a challenge, there's that 100-miler, and that one starts in Mashpee. They all end in P-Town. The 69-miler starts in Sandwich at Heritage Museums, and the 33 starts in Orleans. So there's a little bit for everybody, and then they all end in one big party at the end.
And I bet you people are going to be looking forward to that.
I think so. I think so. We've got a lot going on with that. We've got live entertainment with Sarah Swain and the O Boys. We've got several different food trucks and ice cream. There's beer and wine and soda and a lot of activities, a lot of stuff going on at the party. So people, even non-riders, will show up for the party.
Will that be open to all the volunteers? Because we're talking about riders now, but we expect to have quite a few other volunteers involved. Right?
Absolutely, yeah. We're targeting about 250 plus volunteers because we've got volunteers who have helped organize it and as well as execute it. There will be marshals all along the route, and many of them will, once they're done with their positions, come on up. There's nurses and EMTs at all the water stations. There's a number of restaurants donating food. We've got a lot of volunteers, so yeah, there should. And my hope is that we'll have 500 plus riders, but they're also looking at 200, 250 volunteers, and then a lot of friends and family that were supporting those riders who will show up. So we could have upwards of 800 people at the party.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hope you're ready for that.
We are ready. We are ready. Quite frankly, last year we had anticipated, we shut off at 400 the number of riders because we wanted to be sure that we could return them back to their starts, 3 different starts. This year, we're a little bit better prepared. We're ready to handle more riders. But we've also, as part of the registration process, we've asked people to let us know whether or not they need a ride. So consequently, we can accommodate far more than 400 riders.
That's great.
Yeah.
What a great advantage that is, too.
Yeah.
I know some riders have concerns about safety, especially in a long production like this. Are there some...
Huge. It's huge. It's a big part of it. Now, just recently you had the Pan Mass Challenge, and that's where, there are thousands of riders, but most of those are really elite riders, people that ride on a regular basis. Our ride, because it's shorter and all very local, is really made up of an awful lot of novice riders or intermediate riders, and so safety is a huge issue for us. We've changed the route up. We've constructed a route that takes safety in mind. It is not necessarily on the highway the whole way or on Route 6A the whole way. We're on the bike path to some degree. We're on a lot of back roads, very scenic, purposely to avoid the high traffic areas. We've also enlisted within each town lots of police details, as well as the volunteer marshals. As I mentioned, we've got nurses and EMTs along the way. We've got what are called SAG vehicles that support.
SAG vehicle?
Well, I'm stuck at what the actual acronym is, but it's essentially a safety vehicle, a support vehicle that will be riding throughout the route, looking for people that have either, maybe they're really just too exhausted to go on, or maybe they're having mechanical issues, that sort of thing. So they can pick you up, take you for and deliver you. So there's a lot of issues with safety in mind.
Yeah. Boy, a lot of planning is going into this.
Yeah, quite frankly, the process started, I'm going to say, almost 3 years ago. When the idea was born, there was a group of us, a small group that got together, started planning again with the chamber, started talking to some of the different towns. And then after a few months, we realized that, during the summer, that one summer, we just didn't have time to complete it in time. So we took a couple-month break. And then in September, went on and spent an entire year leading up to last year's ride, which ultimately, because of the weather, there was a hurricane prediction. Unfortunately, it didn't actually get executed, but we've now spent all of that last year. So it's been in the making for 2.5 years.
I remember being part of that last year, just the planning for it, and it was such a disappointment because I think there's like a crescendo of energy. People were just so excited and looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
And putting the brakes on was really hard for
it was very difficult, many very disappointed people. But the bright side was this: a number of the riders did go out that day, even though we had lots of high winds and things that sort of littered the roads. It was a gorgeous day, and many of the riders went out and rode anyways. Many of them had raised a tremendous amount of money for their own charities. We ultimately distributed over $250,000 to the 19 different charities. So it was a success.
Amazing.
As much as we didn't all get to ride and have a big party, the fact was the goal was achieved. We supported the community, and there was a lot of benefit to it. And it was a dry run for us.
Well, that's I was in my introduction, I mentioned that for people who are looking to have an influence and to really volunteer in a way that has a sort of a trickle-down effect. How is that for the people who are not riding? As you said, there will be literally hundreds along the way.
Absolutely.
Where does that trickle down to? How we have these 19 organizations, right?
Well, you've got 19 organizations which employ an awful lot of people. I would also point out that some of the ancillary effects are as we're called Second Summer Cycle, and the reason for that is sort of a branding thing for the Cape Cod Chamber that we refer to in the fall. The purpose is to promote the fall, to bring people from off Cape onto the Cape to help generate a certain amount of revenue, a lot of retail shops, restaurants, et cetera. Last year, 24% of our riders came from off Cape.
Really?
So that is unfortunately a success.
Wow.
Other than that, I mean, those 19 charities, you should understand, represent a huge number of Cape Codders. If you were to total up all of the people serviced by those 19, it would exceed 200,000 people that receive some sort of services, whether it's veterans or the gay community, the women, children, the disabled, the list goes on and on. The YMCA, the United Way, Commerce Choice, We Can, the list just keeps on going. And so ultimately, a tremendous number of Cape Codders are all benefited from it.
That sounds like almost the year-round population.
It is 250,000. I think it's close to the year-round population, and those charities all provide services to upwards of 200,000 people.
Well, I really want to speak to that because I think for the people who are not riding, there's that wonder, well, what is my little piece doing here, guiding the riders along? it's amazing to think about how much effect that has on the community.
It really does. And I have to say, at this point, I think volunteers is probably our single biggest need. Whether it's marshals on the road, whether it's manning a water station, organizing and helping with the party at the end, there's a lot of different opportunities. Some of them are as simple as just helping that day for an hour, hour and a half.
Sure.
Others, a little bit more extensively, helping us to promote and organize in advance. We're still always looking for sponsors, additional sponsors. Each of the teams have got jerseys, and with those jerseys,
Let's hold that up, David.
they'll be looking to sell space on the jerseys that you can get your logo on if you're a business.
Lovely.
Wow. Yeah.
Very, very nice.
So there's a lot of ways to help and volunteer and get involved.
You know what we haven't said yet? When is this race happening?
Well, as I mentioned, second summer. It's after Labor Day. It's Sunday, September 15th. The earliest ride is starting in Mashpee. That's the 100-mile. We get going at about 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, so it's an early day. The latter ones start at roughly 8:30 and 11 o'clock. I think it might even be 10:30 in Orleans. So it goes all day long. Obviously, different people are different paces, but they all end in Provincetown. So roughly 4 o'clock, it should be winding up. So early morning till about 4 in the afternoon, September 15th.
And that party will be going on from about noontime when the first ride
the first ride should arrive a little bit. The elite riders will get there 11:30, quarter 12. But I think the majority of people should arrive between 1 and 2 o'clock. That'll be the peak arrival time.
Wow. Nice. Well, it is called Second Summer, as you said. It really is a beautiful time of year on the Cape. And when the Pan Mass people come through in August, you know that they're usually up against the weather and against the conditions. So this is really a perfect time. Anything else you want to say about this? Because it's just such I can't wait for this year to happen. It was so frustrating last year.
Yeah, well, as I
close.
say, we're looking for volunteers, but if nothing else, what you'll start seeing, especially on social media, many of the riders will be looking for requests, putting out requests for donations to support their ride. And I should point out that if a rider gets a donation, 100% of whatever they raise goes to the charity. All of the overhead, all of the infrastructure for this ride is paid for by sponsors. Things like, the Cooperative Bank and Cape Cod 5 and Eastern Bank, Scargo Cafe, my place. And there are a ton. There's probably 40 other sponsors. So if you can, and even if it's $5 or $10, if you see a request for a rider, if you could be as generous as possible to help support their ride.
Great. Yeah. You'll see that on the lower part of the screen. We'll have the website up so that you can make a quick connection. And again, for riders, for volunteers, it's all there and it's very easy to access. So,
Great.
Well, I want to thank you so much for putting this together, the thought process that went into it years ago. And this is a spoiler alert. David would never want this to be known, but he should. David was the Volunteer of the Year last year, and his hand is in so many places to benefit this group of us living on the Cape. And it's just amazing that so much has gone into it, and I can't wait to see us finishing it up properly.
Rich, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Really appreciate it, David.
See you on
Take
the road.
care. Will do. Hey everybody, and welcome back. I'm Rich Falzone, and we're going to talk to one of the beneficiaries this afternoon. That's Amanda Converse. Amanda is the co-founder of Love Live Local, and she's going to tell us about her organization this afternoon.
Sure. Thanks so much for having me here. So Love Live Local, we were founded about 11 years ago, 2013, and at the time it was a passion project. Myself and 2 other women, we were small business owners who were wanting to hear more people talking about the importance of choosing local first. So Love of Local was born in order to support and grow our local economy by imparting the importance of our local business community.
Part of that comes out in your, you do is it an annual guide?
Yes.
Yeah. I remember when my wife and I moved here in 2018, we got a hold of one of those. And it was such a great way to just get just meeting through that booklet all the different companies and all the different businesses here. It was really delightful.
Yeah, so a part of our activities, we do education, advocacy, and direct support for our local businesses. And we use that guidebook as an educational tool. So we
Nice.
share our mission throughout, but also share the stories of our local businesses throughout that. And we have 2 annual publications, which is our Love Local Field Guide and our Love Local Gift Guide. So 2 times a year, we look to connect consumers with our local businesses because, as much as we can say why it's important to support local business, which is an important message to put out there, hint, it's better for our local economy and our community, but we also need to show people how to do it. So we use those tools to
Nice.
connect people to our local businesses.
Nice,
Mm-hmm.
nice. So how did you get involved with Second Summer Cycle?
Well, we were really fortunate that when the Second Summer Cycle organization started, they invited us to be one of the beneficiaries, which for us was incredibly humbling. We were familiar with the Last Gasp effort and always sort of admired it from afar, but never were able to get engaged. And this was, so when we were approached, we immediately said, yes, count us in. We'd love to be one of the beneficiaries of Second Summer Cycle.
And as a beneficiary, you are committed to having both riders and volunteers, right?
Yes, we have to recruit 10 riders and 10 volunteers for the day.
And how is that process working? What is that like?
No, we're really lucky that we have some enthusiastic cyclists on our board. So they've kind of taken up the captain's, ship of our team and have been putting the word out to their friends and their network to come join our team. And then, we do actually have a lot of small business owners who are
Nice.
also engaged and want to join our team as well. And the same with the volunteers. I think the volunteers, we have a lot of volunteer needs. We have annual events that we put on, and those same volunteers are really excited to help with this effort because it not only benefits Love Local, but it benefits 18 other beneficiaries as well.
Right. I was wondering about that process too in terms of sort of team building. There's something about, we have our handy jersey here that everybody gets to hold on to and take with them. And I just wondered, what is that process like for people? Do they kind of coalesce around this? Is it like a bonding sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean, the great thing is that it's team building for the teams, and the riders, but it's also team building for the beneficiaries and the nonprofits that are involved. We have monthly meetings, and so there's a level of camaraderie around that. Anytime that we get to collaborate and meet other nonprofit organizations is just it's so much better for our community. It's better for our organization because those collaborations will lead to more and more partnerships and more working together to make this community a better place.
I think that is one thing about the Cape that sense of connection and connectedness. We're sort of an entity unto ourselves, but once you're in, you're in. And even though, as I said, I haven't been here that long, but there's something about just getting to know people and meeting people through all different kinds of ways. And this seems like a great way for volunteers to feel like they're having a sort of a trickle-down effect on many parts of the community. Yeah,
and I always say to people who are new here, the best way to get to know people and meet people who are like-minded and that you will get along with is to volunteer with local organizations and for local events like this.
Right. So anything else we need to talk about? Anything else you want to say about the organization? Are we good?
No, just that, we are incredibly excited to be a part of this event. It's a great way. It's not only, an economic driver for the Cape, but it's a great way to support local organizations, and it's a great way to see the Cape when you're riding down the course.
That's another piece of it. I'm not a rider, but I've talked to people who say I was talking to David Troutman earlier about the safety that's built into it, that you're not on main roads and having your team. I hear that it's nice to travel together because you have a sense of, again, connectedness and there's safety in numbers, I take it.
Yeah, and there's the safety aspect, but usually we're driving from point A to point B, but seeing it on a bicycle, and the course is beautiful. So you get to really kind of take in all of the Cape vibes.
Great, terrific. Well, thanks very much. I'm really glad
you
you're
so
part of all
much.
this, and
Thank
we're
you.
looking forward to a great race in September.
Not a race, it's a ride.
I knew that was going to happen. I knew it. I just can't get away from that. So we're having a lovely ride. There are some people that like to go at a faster pace, but the point is getting the work done, and
Yeah.
that's it. So thank you for that. And again, the ride will be happening on Sunday, September 15th. And sign up now. We'll have on the lower third there the web address to get to. So we'll go from there.
And all riders and all volunteers get to join us in Provincetown for the after party, which will be a lot of fun.
David was telling us about that.
Mhm.
If nothing else, you have to make your way up there
Yeah.
and enjoy that too.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks very much, Amanda.
Thank you.
So we've heard from David Troutman, the founder of Second Summer Cycle, and we heard from Amanda Converse, the founder of Love Live Local. And now we're getting to the good part. These are the riders, the people that are out there doing their job. And today we have two, thank you both for coming, joining us today, two riders. One is Ian McNally, who'll be riding for Weekend.
Yes.
And
Suchira Palette,
Suchira Palette. And you're going to be riding for?
the Cultural Center of Cape Cod.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. So maybe we can start with just, do you guys ride for fun or do you ride for exercise and competition?
I want to encourage people to do this. You don't have to be a rider to do these rides, especially the 30, as long as you don't have a back issue and you've actually ridden a bike, 5 miles recently. You can get, do a few trainings and you could do it. So I would encourage anybody to do it. But yes, I am a biker. I used to bike commute. It's a very different thing when you bike commute. It's like every day, 5 or 10 miles. It's not quite the same as the endurance. So I'm training a little bit and doing some rides to get my miles up.
And
So
how
I
many
feel
miles are you
confident
going
to
be
do.
doing for this? How many miles are you doing for this race?
Well, I thought it was 100. Someone told me it was 99, but that's my plan. I'm going all the way to P-Town.
Wow, good for you,
Yeah.
good for you. And how many miles are you doing for the race?
I am not a rider. I was in special gym growing up. The ride is for anyone, and I'm going to do 66 miles.
Good for you.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah.
How are you training and preparing for this?
I trained a lot more last year, and I'm trying to train as much as I can
Right.
on the Peloton as well as outside.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
so,
Interesting.
yeah.
Huh. So I guess, one of the things I've heard riders talk about is a little bit of concern for safety, especially you do a lot of riding in different places. Do you have concerns about that for this race?
Well, absolutely not for this race.
Somebody correct me. I said race
It's-
again. I caught
it's a
myself. which is
ride.
better.
It's a ride.
It's a
not a
But everybody
race.
does call it a
Right.
race. And yeah, so basically, I think I ride on the road as well as the bike path. We have an amazing bike path here in Cape Cod.
Mhm.
And this ride will be both on the road. And I'm not worried at all. You can get a $2 safety vest at Ocean State Job Lot.
Huh.
And if you ride even at night, it's very reflective and people will see you.
Nice.
And I mean, once in a while the sun's in a bad position,
Mhm.
but yeah, you're going to be riding with a bunch of people. So
Mm-hmm.
chances are if you stay like over to the right, they'll get hit before you do.
Right. Do you worry about that at all, safety
I
issues?
do. You know what? I am a big chicken about riding on the road, but I will say this. I practice a lot on the rail trail, and I practice on roads that I think are safe. But when the time comes for the ride, I've done one other ride, not many other, but
Mhm.
I felt very safe during the ride because there are so many marshals on the street. We have so many volunteers lined up for the ride
Mhm.
that I really feel good about doing it, and I'm not scared about doing it. So it's a
Good.
great opportunity.
Good. David Troutman was telling us about that too, that there are a lot of people helping out and working on that and making it a safe ride for people.
Absolutely.
So good to hear. Good to hear. Do you have fundraising goals for yourselves? How are you looking at that?
Well, I did have a fundraising goal, which was low, and I thought $1,000 was my goal, and I've exceeded that. But I raised $1,300 so far, but I do want to raise more.
Terrific.
And I'm looking at other ways of raising money, like having a party, and and also matching. I was going to offer a match for some of the
Nice.
people who would donate to me,
Very
even if they
nice.
donate in small increments.
Sure.
So
sure.
maybe at the end we can tell them how to sponsor us if somebody
We will
wants
do
to.
that. We will
Okay.
do that, I promise. How are you doing with that fundraising business?
I'm doing great. Part of I work at the Cultural Center too, so I feel pretty passionate about it.
Sure.
And I see the difference that we make every day with the funds that we raise.
Mhm.
So we're working on it, and we appreciate all the support that we get from people.
Terrific, terrific. So your choice to ride was for a cause that's near and dear to you.
Very much so.
How did your decision come about for riding for We Can? You remember, Ian?
Nope. I actually just was looking at all Cape Cod charities, and that's why I signed up for the race, partially because I wanted to raise money for Cape Cod charities, also because I wanted to challenge myself physically.
Mhm.
And I saw We Can, and I saw they were a women's charity helping women in the Cape. Eventually, I met the director, and I found out a lot more about them.
Mhm.
But right now, right then and there, I was just, picking a charity that would be close to my heart, and helping women find jobs and
Sure.
help them in hard transitions. I thought that was a great idea.
So how does that feel when you know that you're doing something that it's physically challenging, you're putting yourself out there, but it has this cause behind it?
Yes, and I learned much more about it once. As soon as I started raising money, people were like, "Oh, we love We Can. Oh, We Can has helped me, or it's helped my neighbor, or it's helped this person or that person." So it's really a well-known charity. And somebody who sponsored me, they gave me $100. They're like, "Oh yeah, I volunteer for We Can." And I was like, "Well, how come I never knew that? I know you for like 2 years."
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's really a big charity. It really
Yeah,
is.
it
A lot
is.
of people love it, and
Yeah.
so
I think
it's
that's
easy to raise money for something that everybody knows.
right. I think that's one of the real benefits of the program and participating in this is that you're doing something with a cause, and as challenging as it is and physically demanding, it's also just a good feeling inside. And I was talking earlier in my introduction, I said that even when you volunteer to help one person face to face, that's satisfying. But I think knowing that there's this sort of trickle down effect and just that I don't know, that must be really satisfying.
Yeah.
So
There's a lot of community here in Cape Cod,
yes.
I think.
We were hearing that from Amanda too, and her saying that really you get exposure to all people that you might not have run into any other way, but here you are doing this event together, and then of course there's at the end of the event, you all know what's coming for that, right? The party.
A beer.
And I will say
Provincetown
this,
Brewery.
it's not just about each of our causes, but we have so many nonprofits that are coming together and organizing this community event,
Mm-hmm.
and it's supporting one another. I've met a lot of incredible people in this nonprofit space that I'm technically competing with, but they're such beautiful people that have taught me so
Wow.
many incredible lessons in life
Right.
that I feel fortunate to be a part of it. And I'm not just saying that to be cheesy and salesy.
Oh, but it sounds like that's the collaborative
It
part
really
of
is.
this.
It's an incredible organization.
Wow.
And if
Yeah.
somebody wants to do these rides, they are actually, say you pick a charity like We Can, then you're part of a group, which I didn't realize that. And then once they invited me to ride with them, I ride 1 day a week. And, it's really another good community, and you meet so many wonderful people. And it's just so much fun to go riding with them because they're so positive and
Mm-hmm.
they're really motivated to get a little bit better, a little faster,
It's
so they can
great to
do
be a
it.
part of it. I mean,
That's-
really,
And they're giving people, they're all social workers or some
Yes.
therapists. I met a therapist, and one of them was a director of We Can.
Yeah.
So it's just
Very
really nice
kind.
people.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I want to get back to the party part because that's a part of this all. I remember watching the Boston Marathon years and years ago. There was a fellow that had a baseball cap, and at the end of the cap, there was this kind of a wire that was sticking out, and he had a beer can, in front of it.
That's a
And he
motivator.
did that for 26 miles and 365 yards. And I was thinking about that for you guys, especially doing the 100 miles. What keeps that going without the can in front of you? What keeps you sort of like pulling
I mean,
yourself?
I have to finish because otherwise I would be letting people down or something, or I might look bad. But I really am looking forward to that beer. I just recently had one there
Yeah.
at that Provincetown Brewing, and they're amazing. And the Golden Ale was really good. I had it for the first time actually maybe a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. And I think the brewery might be owned by women. They did this like little women's group for us, like single women's meeting week. And it was, we had such fun there. It was like a big party.
Right.
And I think I really like that brewery, so I have a good excuse to go now.
Right.
I'm just going to ride my bike there.
And they're going to have a bunch of food trucks and I think dessert is on the menu. There's a lot of good things to look forward to with that. And plus the satisfaction of just finishing with your friends.
Right, so I have to get there an hour early. I'm going
My
to up my
twins
time a
will be
little bit.
there at the end of the finish
I
line.
was going to ask about that. Really?
So
Wow.
that's my motivation
Wow. See
to
Mom
get
coming
there,
across.
even if I'm there the last person cycling in.
I've been told it's not a race. You know this. It is not a race.
It isn't
So
a
you
race,
Just
it's a
get
ride.
there when you get
But
there.
my
right?
kids will be there at the finish line, and that's my motivation.
That is so great. That is so great. You guys are terrific. Thanks so much for coming out today and talking to us about this. And for those of us on the course that are volunteering, or anyone that wants to come out and cheer people on, because I think that must be a rush too, when you get people kind of just encouraging you and pushing you along like that. So please feel free to go to our website. It'll be in the lower third there, and feel free to donate or to volunteer as a rider or as a non-rider. It will be a spectacular day. Sunday, September 15th. You got that on your calendars, right?
Yep. It's not even 6 weeks, I think.
Oh, wait a minute. We have one other little thing.
Oh, the shirts.
What ride is worthy of anything other than a great, terrific? Look at that. You have to.
I have to show you the cultural
I
center.
am jealous of that, rainbow colors.
yeah.
They're beautiful. Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Nicely done. Nicely done. Thanks, everybody, and thanks for watching today.